we humans have a very short lifespan, all things considered. We only get around 80 years, give or take, of our lives to do whatever we want, to fulfill everything that we set out to do in this life before mother nature or our own nature uh, puts us in a casket, being for natural sources, or we just die of old age, disease, or somebody else takes our lives. We have relatively a short amount of time to fulfill our dreams, to like study, have friends, be present with our families, fall in love, find a job that we actually love, and all of that in a span of approximately 80 years to even 100 years. But what happens when you live for millennia, when you are seemingly immortal, that you don't have that limitation of having to fulfill everything in a short amount of time, don't have a time limit in your life to fulfill everything you set out to do. This is stuff that Frieren Beyond Journeys and actually tries to answer. Frieren, our titular Frieren, is actually an immortal elf. And if you know everything about elves, and I'm talking about like elves that live for millennia and are seemingly immortal, like the ones that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote in his books in Lord of the Rings saga. Freedom Beyond the Sand is a very beautiful anime. It's very philosophically charged and has a lot of like stuff that I want to bite into it as a psychologist. I just really love Frieden a lot. So today I want to talk about the titular Frieden, an immortal elf that teaches us the importance of life, connection, and holding on to the people that we love and the memories that come with it, because she is immortal, so she has a lot of dealings with loss and what it means to remember those that had already parted. So yeah, I am so sorry if this is late. This is actually my second take on this video. My first video actually got blocked and it got very long. I hope that this one doesn't get blocked by copyright from YouTube and Toho. And I hope you like it. So, like always, if you like this video, you can like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And also comment what kind of videos you want me to actually talk about in another video. But anyway, so back to Frieden. On the surface, Frieden is, like I said, an immortal elf. She is also very stoic, very matter of fact, and she doesn't show a lot of emotions. She has a very flat affect. Uh, the affect is the affect is basically like your ability to show emotions in your face. We say that someone has a flat affect because they don't really show the emotion in proportion to the emotion that they are having or they say they have. So, like, for example, they say that they are happy, but they have a very um, serious, or uh, they don't show that much that they are happy, but they say they are happy. or they say they are sad, but they actually are not crying, or they don't show the physical reactions of someone that is crying or sad. Most of the time is because either they have a sort of trauma, or they just can't articulate that much emotion. A lot of, for example, autistic people show this trait. I'm not saying that Frieden is autistic. She does show a bit of autistic traits, but she is not. She is, like I said, she is an immortal elf. And seemingly, all of the elves in the series that we know so far, Siri or Craft, Frieden, have shown to have this sort of problem with showing their actual emotions, or not showing enough. And even characters like Fern, who was raised by Frieden, don't have that much like physical manifestation of her emotions. But I think that's more to do with being raised by Frieden, and also because of her trauma. And I will get to Fern in another video because she's a very interesting character. Back to Frieden. Frieden, her emotional, like her inability to understand emotions or to express emotions, could be traced back to actually a trauma response. Because in the flashback we show of Frieden's past briefly, her village was attacked by demons. Her village was completely annihilated, and she was the only survivor. She managed to kill the demon perpetrator, but it was already too late, and she blamed herself a lot. That, combined with probably 1,000 years of isolation after her mentor passed away, the isolation caused her to like not understand human emotion a lot. This is something that is very telling when you see the flashbacks of Frieden with the Heroes Party with Himmel, Heiter, and Eisen, that she doesn't understand a lot of the nuances of like why people would like certain things, why they had these sort of reactions or sentimentalisms. Because she's very logical focused, and she takes a lot of things matter of factly because of her isolated nature. All of this culminates in, of course, this all culminates in her realization of her not really understanding humans. She doesn't understand the emotions that she herself was feeling when Himmel dies. Because deep down, she actually did care. She loved her friends, she loved Himmel. All of this came crashing down, of course, with the death of Himmel the hero, when she went away for 50 years and then came back to see this beautiful meteor shower, and found that her friends have aged significantly, of course, because it's been 50 years. And all of her friends are now older. Even Eisen, who is a dwarf, has aged a little bit more. That was the last adventure before Himmel the hero sadly passed away from old age. And all of these emotions that she was feeling, all of the grief and the pain, came crashing down, and she doesn't understand why. This is reflected in the lyrics for the first opening of the anime, where she is asking why those my tears are falling, that she wants to understand why the death of Himmel hurt so much. And it's one of the reasons why she begins a new journey, a journey to understand humans and not to understand emotion. And this is where the anime starts. The anime is a lot more than just what happens after the hero's party defeats the great evil king and liberates the land. It's about connections, love, and emotions through the lens of a seemingly immortal elf trying to understand the complexities of humanity. Through the anime, you see her taking in this little orphan girl that was taken by one of her friends, Heiter, and you see her grow up. Or throughout the anime, you see Frieren growing more older and older. She's 18 by the end of season 1. You see how much this kind of affects Frieren a lot too, because her temporal perception is very different from a normal human's. She has, sorry for the noise, there's like a construction or something in my building. So anyway, Frieden has a bad relationship with Sign. She sometimes uh, gets confused about like what time is it. Sometimes she can sleep for a whole day and still be tired. Like Fern has to take care of her a lot and take her out of bed because she just is not a morning person at all. She can like she also has that catchphrase of it's only been so and so years. Like when the heroes party ended their journey to defeat the Demon King, she has the it's only been 10 years. Like it's nothing. Like that seemingly 10 years that can be a lot for a human is is something that she says like is 1/1000 of her life. She sees that journey like this. And even Serie is another elf we meet in the series, the oldest elf we meet. And she says that a millennium for elves is nothing compared to a human's 80 years. It's something that is repeatedly shown in the anime how much Vern's growth and even starts affects Frieren a lot because Frieren at first was very reluctant to take on Fern. She just doesn't want any more death in her hands. She already has lost her whole village, her family seemingly, her mentor, Flam. Then she lost Himmel. And now she has to see another one of her friends, Heiter, slowly wilting away. And and of course, at the end of like the first half of the second episode, he passes away peacefully. She doesn't want to take Inferno first because of this. She doesn't want to see another person she cares about die. But she still takes Infern after seeing all of her potential. She sees herself in this little girl who is so desperate to like learn magic and be a mage to impress her mentor. So she takes Fern under her wing, and throughout the series, you see that even though she doesn't treat Fern so, you can tell Frieden loves Fern as family. She even tells Stark that she will always see Fern as a child. Kind of like a parent talking about her little girl. And this is even more telling once you get further into the manga. Like spoiler for the manga, because of course I've read the manga, I'm up to date. And there's a chapter a bit after the end of season one that will hopefully be adapted to the second season, where Stark tells Frieden that she sounds like a parent, like a mother talking about Fern, because Fern is like it's her 19th birthday. She got all pretty up for the date with Stark, and Frieden looks very proud and seemingly very emotional as Frieden can get, and Stark clocks this. And at this comment, Frieden doesn't even deny it. She is very aware how much she loves Fern, and she's very proud of this little girl she took under her wing, both as a mentee and also as a child, a daughter. It's a very beautiful thing, and you see you see a lot of Frieden's growth not only through Fern and Stark, but also when you take into consideration how much she changed from the flashbacks to the hero's body and contrast them with the Frieden we see throughout the anime. And it's a very subtle like change. It's not like extremely bombastic change, like suddenly drastic change. But you see her like more open. You see her express actually a lot of emotions compared to when she was with the hero's body. You see how much Himmel's influence changed her. She will take on a lot of good deeds and seemingly random side quests with seemingly very little pay, only like useful things like spells or I don't know food. She will also like do very little acts of kindness. Of course, she will also be very selfish at times because this is freedom. Freedom without selfishness is not freedom. What I want to say in this video is sometimes we as humans take things for granted a lot of the times. But if we take a break to appreciate all that we have, all the connections that we have, all of the people that we love, we won't have any regrets, just like Frieden, like the Frieden we see in the first episode where she cried out of regret for not knowing Himmel better and being left with all of these memories, all of these recollections of their time together. We have to appreciate all of the little things in life, being like sunsets or sunrises, uh, random festivals. Even finding love in this era can be very trifling. Uh, Good thing we are not elves, because elves seemingly have very little to no interest in romance and reproduction. So good thing. Most of humans don't have that. Uh, Honestly, I'm more like Frieren than I thought, but yeah. So anyway, live a good life, eat good food, and tell the people that you care about that you love them. Give them at least a hug. Show them your love, and please don't be like Frieden and wait 50 years to show up for a friend and regret it later. Uh, Anyway, that's it for today. I overextended. I don't know how much I have to cut for this video. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. I love you. Take care. Bye bye.